music, certain melodies and ideas are repeated to create a phrase. These phrases are often repeated throughout a piece, and this repetition hooks listeners. Repeating a single melody gives the music a meaning that is more than just a pattern of notes. This cyclical behavior can equate to patterns in nature. A few examples of cyclical things in the living world would be weather, germination, erosion, and tidal flow. We translated data points into notes to represent sea level rise. In the cello piece that you are about to listen to, you can hear a gradual change as the notes get higher. This change represents sea level rise from 2000 to 2010 in Hampton Roads. To represent different projections of sea level rise in 2100, we took data from a graph and turned them into notes for 3 different instruments to represent low, medium, and high projected change in sea level. The oboe represents a smaller change, the flute a more average change, and the piccolo a very drastic change. After a series of nor'easters and Hurricane Matthew, Asheville Park has experienced serious flooding problems throughout the neighborhood. Asheville Park has been experiencing problems since 2012 when the city discovered that the neighborhood's drainage system had serious inadequacies. The city has decided to implement a system of weirs and tidal gates throughout the neighborhood. A weir is a barrier across the width of the river that alters the flow of water and results in a change in the height of the river levels. The weirs and tidal gates should redirect the flow of water, lowering the amount of groundwater and decreasing the amount of flooding.
Wetlands are good for both the prevention of sea level rise as well as the quality of water itself. The idea of elevating wetlands could essentially act as a natural barrier against the rise by spraying dredged material and mud to vertically grow the wetland, preventing it to be covered by the flood of water. Being that there are many wetland areas in Hampton Roads, this would be one of the most preventive strategies that would be the most effective in the case of far sea level rise. This is also one of the more specific location preventers and one of the most cost-effective strategies as well. One area that uses elevated wetlands is Macy's Ditch in Delaware. They have been dredging since 2006 and their wetlands have been thriving ever since. Though originally we thought that hard structures like bulkheads and seawalls would be the ones to protect us, hard structures will amplify the strength of the waves, and unless the wall is high enough, it will ultimately collapse as more water is added. Along with that, if seawalls are used, sand on the water side of the wall will eventually wash away, leading to the destruction of any beach left in the area. Opposed to hard concrete structures, we could switch to a more natural, eco-friendly alternative. Living shorelines are essentially slopes that mimic natural shorelines, but rather than sand, they have vegetation and marshy type of material used to strengthen and act as a buffer to the rising sea levels and waves. When it comes to space restraints, however, it's easier to create hard structures than using living shorelines. So if you have to go with the harder choice, add living components to the hard structures. New England has been using living shorelines and in turn has been purifying the water and protecting the city. Being that Virginia Beach is filled with coastal tourist attractions, this would help protect the beaches. Opposed to the seawall, the living shoreline would help conserve the beach rather than strip the beach of the sand left. It will also help make living in Hampton Roads more enjoyable as these shorelines add aesthetic view to the area. One area in Hampton Roads that is at risk is the Oceana Naval Air Base. Being that it is approximately 2.5 miles from the ocean, it is very much at risk of flood. This destruction of the base would cause many problems, provided that it is the biggest jet base located in this area. Along with this base has many connector roads streaming from all ends, and without these roads, some areas would become inaccessible, resulting in long alternative routes and less desire to travel. The oceanfront is one of the biggest tourist attractions in the area of Virginia Beach. Because of this, losing it would cause a decreased attraction and desire to come to this area. We would lose funding to our city, and soon Virginia Beach would be completely underwater. In the recent years, there has been an increase in sea level rise, which has caused frequent flooding in low-lying areas. The Virginia Beach oceanfront is one of the lowest-lying areas on the Virginia coast and is a large target of storms. The city has recently been experiencing issues related to the storm system ability to adequately drain rainfall. Virginia Beach City Council is aware of this issue and wants to prevent further flooding in the city's largest tourist attraction and to the homes of many families. The City Council has provided funding for a comprehensive sea level rise and reoccurring flood assessment and has begun collaborating with the Seawater Master Plan. To protect the oceanfront and surrounding areas, the city has planned to incorporate resilience measures into building designs, downzone flood-prone areas, and restrict the rebuilding of repetitive lost structures. Though this is affecting the city around us, it is also a major problem globally. Any type of land surrounded by water is slowly slipping under, and unless we do something to prevent it from getting worse, the home you know and love may be destroyed. If we don't do anything to prevent sea level rise, our beaches and city will slowly become a memory. Here in Hampton Roads, we were taught that we can do anything we love. Music has the ability to bring people together and alleviate worry and distress. So let's all come together and put an end to the destruction of the place we call home.